Hello my scholars, welcome to my school channel where we're tackling JAMB CBT past questions for English language year 2019. Stay with us, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to my school channel. In this video clip, we'll be solving questions 66 to 85. However, question 66 to 76 comes with a passage in form of a register. So I advise you click on the link in the description below where it takes you to my school website. There you can read the passage carefully. Or you could pause this video as it's being displayed on the screen. Read properly for a better understanding. Now let's go over to question 66. Just after dash, the aircraft gave a shudder and coughed. Option A, departure. Option B, takeoff. Option C, leaving. Option D, flying. Now, one thing about register is that the purpose of a register is to give language to a particular field or a particular context or a particular communicative situation. So in these options, you see that most of the words could be grammatically correct. But then a particular word is designed to fit into this field, and that is the word we are looking for. Now, departure and leaving are synonymous, so they are wrong to use in this context. But then when you say the word takeoff, takeoff means to leave the ground, to fly, to ascend into the air. So that's what the word means, and it is peculiar to aircrafts. So option B is the correct answer. Question 67. The pilot from the dash activated the emergency sheet. Option A, cabin. Option B, cubicle. Option C, cockpit. Option D, car. Now from this extract, we see that what we are looking for is likened to a place or a room. So now option A is a room, but then it is peculiar to a ship. Option B, cubicle, it's peculiar to a swimming pool. Option C, which is a cockpit, which means the control room for aeronautical vessels. Option D, which is cab, which is peculiar to taxis. So we see from my explanation that option C is the correct answer because it is peculiar to aircraft. Option C, cockpit, is the answer. Question 68. To cover the improperly secured left rear dash. Now from this extract, we have a field that whatever word is missing here has to do with an entry or a door. Option A, arch. Option B, door. Option C, entrance. Option D, gate. However, door may seem very tempting, but then we are looking for a word that is suitable for this context, aircraft. And we see that option A is a small door peculiar to aircraft or spaceship. Option A is the correct answer. Question 69. At the same time, he pushed a button on the panel to activate automatic turning, and the aeroplane dashed northeast. So, this extract, we have a few that is talking about moving towards a different direction or changing towards a different direction. Option A, faced. Option B, moved. Option C, switch. Option D, veered. Now, option A and B are very tempting, but then they are ordinary. They are informal. They don't fit into this context. They are not peculiar to aircraft. But then switch means to change direction, but then it is peculiar to railway. If the person was talking about trains, we could probably go for option C. But then veered means to change direction, and it is peculiar to cars and aircraft. So option D is the correct answer. Question 70. He called the control dash to report the mishap. Now, what do we feel here? We feel that the word missing here could be a control unit or a control area or a place where communication is done to control the aircraft. That's the feel we get from this extract. Now, option A, office. Option B, department. Option C, building. Option D, tower. The correct answer is tower. Control tower means a building in an airport where where movement of aircraft is being controlled or monitored. Option D is the correct answer. Question 71. And requested clearance for emergency dash. Now, emergency should paint that picture of having to stop urgently. So let's go over with the options. Option A, return. Option B, landing. Option C, stopping. Option D, arrival. As tempting as stopping will be, it is not correct in this context. It does not fit contextually. So the appropriate answer is option B, landing. Emergency landing. Option B is the accurate answer. Question 72. The plane circled the airport and prepared to return to the airport it had just left. Moments later, the aircraft dashed. A, ran. B, eased. C, taxied. D, skied. Ran is applicable to people. Eased, which means to be free of pain. C, taxied means to move on the ground, for an aircraft to move on the ground using its own power. D, skied means to eat or throw. Now, judging from my explanation, we see that option C is the correct answer. Do not forget to take practice questions with our simulated CBT JAMB past questions. All you need to do is click on the link in the description below where it takes you to my school website. There you can download my school software for your laptops and computer, or my school mobile app for your Android phone. So start practicing. Question 73. To stop on a dash. Option A, park. Option B, field. Option C, tarmac. Option D, runway. Now, the word park is ordinary. It generally means a park, but then it's not peculiar to aircraft. Field is also ordinary. It's not peculiar to this context. Option C, tarmac, which means an area of an airport where airplanes are parked. Option D, runway. Runway is that long pavement where aircraft take off or land. So option C is the correct answer, tarmac. I believe you've enjoyed this content, and if so, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and tap on the bell notification to get notified when we release our new videos. Question 74. Dash in oil skin ran in a light drizzle. Option A, workers. Option B, engineers. Option C, fitters. Option D, repairers. Workers is much more informal in this context. We can't use workers. It's plain, it's ordinary in this context. Option B, engineers. Engineers is appropriate because a flight or aircraft engineer best describe one who monitors or inspects aircraft systems. Option C, fitters, someone who fits or assembles something. Option D, repairers, someone who repairs. So option B is the correct answer, engineers. Question 75. And we're soon perched on the dash of the plane from where they began their inspection. Now, from this extract, we see that there was a problem with the flight, and so engineers had to gather on a particular part of the plane to inspect. Option A, apex, which is the highest point of a building. Option B, nose. Option C, tip, which also means the wing tip. Option D, front. Front is just very informal for this context. Now, the answer is tip. Tip of the plane also means the wing tip. And because of the context, because of the issue they had from the passage, we see that wingtip is the best answer for this question. Option C, tip is the answer. Questions 76 to 85 are questions based on a literary text by Bolaji Abdullahi titled Sweet 16. Now moving on to question 76. Questions below are based on Bolaji Abdullahi's Sweet 16. The stereotypical act in the book centers A, terrorism, B, religious intolerance, C, food insecurity, D, the lifestyle of a teenager. Now, a particular chapter in that book is titled Stereotype, and it talks about religious intolerance and religious misconceptions. The writer actually points out this theme by using Rebecca, Aliyah's classmate, to tell us about these misconceptions we have. So option B is the correct answer, religious intolerance. Question 77. Questions below are based on Bolaji Abdullahi's Sweet 16. The novel places emphasis on the A, need for strict parenting and schooling for children, B, social disparity between the rich and the poor in the society, C, relevance of bridging the communication gap between children and their parents, D, abnormalities of the society and the confusion that comes with childishness. Now, option A, we see that strict parenting was not emphasized in this text. The question says the novel emphasizes or places emphasis on what particular concept or theme. Now, it doesn't place emphasis on need for strict parenting and schooling for children. Option B, social disparity between the rich and poor. It doesn't place emphasis on this, although a part of the book talked about the disadvantages of children not being educated, but then there was no emphasis. It was just a particular part in the text that mentioned it. Option C, relevance of bridging the communication gap between children and their parents. Now, when you look at this text from the beginning to the end, we'll notice that there was a cordial relationship between Aliyah and her father. And because of this close relationship, Mr. Bello, which happens to be Aliyah's father, was able to put Aliyah through morally and support her with all our questions, our burning questions about the world and life in general. So we see that option C is the correct answer because we see that this was emphasized from the beginning of the text to the end of the text. Abnormalities of the society and the confusion that comes with childishness. Now, it doesn't talk about the abnormalities of the society, and it doesn't place too much emphasis on the confusion that comes with childishness. Although some part of the text talks about the confusion that comes with childishness, but then it didn't place more emphasis on it as option C. Option C is the correct answer. Question 78. Aliyah was advised to be mindless of popular perception about her, A, when it comes to her self-esteem, B, when it comes to applying, C, whenever she is in love with anyone, option D, even though she craves for freedom like the Orkin girls. Now, in this text, in the last chapter, titled Beauty, specifically page 47, we see that Aliyah expresses discomfort about her stature. She tells us that our biology teacher, as well as a classmate named Bumi, would make fun of her because she's fat. And she also tells us that the society term thin and tall girls as beautiful as opposed to fat girls. Now, what Mr. Bello did was that he was able to reassure her that she was beautiful and tells her that the society should not determine how you feel about herself. After noticing that her self-esteem was reducing or has been reduced by a biology teacher and as well as Bumi. So we see that option A is the correct answer when it comes to her self-esteem. Question 79. In the novel, we learned that A, it prays to be diligent and hardworking. B, beauty without character is nothing. C, love and companionship are a no-go area for teenagers. D, one should follow the propagation of the media. Now, starting with option A, it pays to be diligent and hardworking. Well, generally it pays to be diligent and hardworking, but in this text, we see that Aliyah is an hardworking student and a very intelligent student, diligent with her studies. So it's not a lesson learned from the novel per se. It's just an attribute of Aliyah from the start of this novel. So it is not the right answer. Option B, beauty without character is nothing. Now we see in this text, first, this text centers on a 16-year-old girl with a lot of questions about life, and her father takes it upon himself to guide her through this journey and to ensure that she is morally upright. Now, in page 49 of this text, we are told that beauty is nothing and character is needed. So in this particular chapter, which is the final chapter, beauty, we will learn this specifically that beauty is nothing, but character is needed in everything. And this character encompasses self-confidence, kindness, generosity, grace, and all of this goodness in together. So we see that option B is the correct answer. Love and companionship are a no-go area for teenagers. Well, this was discussed, but then Mr. Bello advises Aliyah to be patient. He didn't just completely nullify this idea, but then he told her there was time for it. Option D, one should follow the propagation of the media. Well, this was actually discouraged, never to follow the popular message from the media and all of that. So option B is the correct answer. Question 80. Aliyah's 16th birthday is special because option A, she receives birthday cards from her father every year since age 12. Option B, she was already mature to fully understand the realities of life stories told by her father. Option C, her father gave her a birthday card and a digital camera. Option D, of her father's 16th page letter detailing her life journey thus far. Now, if you've read this text, you would know that what made Aliyah's 16th birthday special was because her father wrote her a 16-page letter. That was what made her birthday very special to her. So option D is the correct answer. Although option A actually happened, but then it was not the reason why her birthday was special. It was not the reason why her 16th birthday was special. Option D is the correct answer. Do you have several unanswered questions you would like to ask? Well, you've gotten to the right place at the right time. So why not click on the link in the description below where it takes you to my school website. There are several solution providers waiting there to answer your questions. So go ahead and ask your questions. Moving to question 81. As it relates to sex education, Aliyah's father advised that A, she should abstain totally from sex as this is the worst sin ever in the history of human civilization. Option B, she should wisely decide before letting go of her body. Option C, she should be mindful of her company, her friends, and the media's influence on sexual affairs. Option D, sexual affair is no longer a hidden issue and she should wisely make her choices. Now in chapter 2 titled The Drive, page 15, we see that the drive was orchestrated by Mr. Bello to educate Aliyah on sex. Now we see that he emphasized that she should be mindful of her company with friends as her mind is like that of a beautiful room that should not be corrupted. So we see that option C is the correct answer. She should be mindful of her company of friends and the media influence on sexual affairs. Option C is the correct answer. Do you have better steps, explanation, or solutions to any of those questions? If you do, feel free to use the comment section below. Indicate the question number and the explanation you would like to share. Question 82. Which one of the following critically relates to the novel's subject of concern? A, youthful ambition and confusion. B, socialization. C, religious bigotry. D, the futility of life. Now, if you read this text, you see that the text centers on socialization, Aliyah's socialization. What is socialization? Socialization is the process of acquiring personal identity as well as learning the norms, the value of a society as regards to a person's social position. So we see that in this text, Aliyah has been trying to socialize to find her personal identity in the society where she has found herself. So option B is the correct answer. Question 83. A child's choice of career is a matter of A, glamorous desire. B, passion. C, public perception as to the success rate and earnings of the profession. D, parental discretion. Now, if you've read the passage, you see in page 29, Mr. Bello tells Aliyah that whatever it is you want to do whatever it is that has your heart in it. And that defines passion. So we see that passion, option B, is the correct answer. Question 84. The novelist noted that stereoscopic people should be A, condemned for their bad thinking. B, encouraged by admonition. C, corrected of their bad thinking. D, challenged to take up social responsibilities. Now, in this text, in page 42, we see that Mr. Bello tells us that anyone can fall under the stereotype trap. It tells us that Rebecca may not be a bad person as such, but people think wrongly because of the kind of thoughts they are exposed to, and it tells us that we should correct them and not term them as bad person. Now from my explanation, we see that option C is the correct answer, corrected of their bad thinking. Option C is the appropriate answer. Question 85. All in all, Aliyah has option A, the inheritance of her parents both in knowledge and assets. Option B, being challenged to be exceptional in all her endeavors. Option C, the responsibility to pass on the lessons of her father to her own children. Option D, being portrayed as the definition of beauty and character. Now in this text, in the last page, we see that Mr. Bello tells a remarkable story and emphasizes the need for Aliyah to pass on the moral teaching to her children, just as he has paid his debts and just as his parents did to him. So this tells us that this moral teaching should be passed on from one child to another. Option C is the correct answer. We've come to the end of this segment and I believe you enjoyed this content. Please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button and tap on the bell notification to get alerted as soon as we release the next videos.